Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Sandslash, not the Alolan variant, in the Great League Remix Cup. And today we're going to have also here the new fast move Sand Attack. I actually have not ever seen anybody use this Pokemon, most likely missed it or whatever. But here today you're going to see every single battle that I did with this team. And there is going to be a weakness which you see here already in the first battle already, where we're going to encounter the Gligar in the lead, and we have to swap out into our Sandslash, and we're gonna get walled here by a Poliwrath. Yeah, basically Gligar in the lead is the worst possible Pokemon to encounter. Anything else is actually totally fine for this team. And as said, you're going to see here every single battle that I did with this team. And so every win, every loss, you're going to see everything here. So you can definitely check out if this is going to be something that you maybe want to try out or not. And I have to say, for myself, I think it was a fun team to use. Of course, it was not the best team that I ever used, but it was definitely a team that I was having quite some decent success with. So let's take a look at the battles. As you're going to see here, we were able to kind of flip everything. As you're going to see in the back as well, it's going to be a Magnezone. They're going to be double weak to the Quagsire, and we can take perfect advantage of this because we can actually go for the full farm down against them, allowing us to knock them out before they can do anything. And now we just have like 2 Awkward Tails left, and this is going to be an easy game here with 2 shields left after losing the lead hard. This is going to be a very neutral lead here, and it's going to be a wrong moveset on my Gargantua. This was the first battle that I did with this team, and so I had no idea why my moveset is so insanely weird on this Pokemon. But yeah, after the first battle, which is this one here, of course, I'm going to change the moveset to the one that you saw before. Again, battles are randomized, kind of always the case with the videos they have, just because my editing software does it. I don't know why. But yeah, anyway, we're going to have here the Annihilate against us, and we were able to get quite a lot of energy here and get quite a lot of damage onto them as well, which allows us to align ourselves. Getting rid of the Annihilate is quite nice, and getting some Stone Edge damage onto this Dewgong would be quite nice as well. And so they're going to decide to just let it go through, and I can actually go for an Awkward Tail on them, which are very likely is not going to be enough to knock them out, but it's going to get them quite low, and so we can let this move go through. And I'm still going to go ahead and go into my Gargantua, because here actually I was able to even knock them out just with the Fury color, which is hilarious, but also because I can debuff them, and getting a debuff on this Pokemon is just so lovely, as we can go now into our Sandslash. Going for the Sand Attack is doing quite a lot of damage, and we can even go now for the Scorching Sands, trying to fish for the debuff, but it doesn't matter anyway. As I let the move go through, we can easily win the game. Okay, now we're going to have the normal moveset again. We're going to encounter a lead that is a very neutral. Like, neutral is here. It's going to be a little bit of an awkward one to deal with. We're going to go ahead and go for Discharge. This is going to be able to, get the shield from the opponent, as he can swap out into our Quagsire. In comes Ferrothorn. This happens quite often to me recently. There are quite a lot of Ferrothorns in the back, which can be quite a tricky matchup for this team. And I definitely saw some like legend teams as well with the Ninetales as well as the Ferrothorn, so very likely something like this. The team itself can still deal against this, like with this Pokemon here, because you're going to have our lead, which is quite decent against the Ferrothorn, having access to Lunge, having access to resistance to every single move that they run. But it's still not going to be great here. We're forced to go straight for the charge move in order to knock them out. We can swap out here immediately, hoping that they have something in the back that we can deal with. And it's going to be the opponent's, Poliwrath as game over, and we can move on to the next opponent. We had quite a few games here where we got kinda hard-walled, but you want to see them all, so you have them here already. So we're gonna see here in the next opponent a fire type in the lead, which is quite awkward, but we were able to get some damage onto them. And look at this beautiful bait coming through here from me against the opponent's Dewgong. So likely they're going to use a shield, and so we were able to take advantage of this. We can now go for our own shield, which I don't actually agree with, I have to say. I don't think this was the right call, because he would have been able to survive a move anyway. So maybe I just want to try to flip switch in general, but as the opponent decides to use a shield here now as well, I can go for another Stone Edge, but this is kinda over in that regard. I can actually keep my Quagsire around, because I can also just swap out into my Galvantula, let the move go through. They might want to swap out afterwards, but they're going to be energy dry now. They're definitely in range where I can just hopefully sweep the entire team with the Pokemon they have in the back. Can Sandslash get a full sweep here? We can farm down the first Pokemon. Let's see what's coming in next. It's going to be the Dewgong, or it's going to be whatever they have in the back. It is going to be the Dewgong, and so we can go for another charge move, getting the second KO here with our Sandslash. No boost at all today, by the way. I don't think there's a single boost that we got, but we can try to reach a Scorching Sands, and so With this game, we're going to see a triple KO from the Sandslash here. Shadow Sandslash is going to do quite a lot of damage here as well, and we can just knock them out straight away. Next opponent, another Annihilate in the lead, which is okay for us. It's not something where I really have to complain about. It's going to be okay. It's going to be a Steam Peter here as well, which we would be able to just take. I just go for the discharge. They actually decide to use a shield, which is quite interesting. Most of the time they don't use a shield, but Night Slash is coming through, and I try to catch the next move onto my Say-Swap of the Quagsire. You kind of want to keep your lead alive, by the way, for this team, because you have a lead that's very good against those Pokemon like Mantine, like those flying type Pokemon, and you have your Say-Swap of Quagsire that's supposed to deal with them, as well as you have Stonehenge. As you're gonna see, again, what I said before already, Ferrothorn was so common as like a Pokemon in the back that it was kinda annoying for me to deal with. I can still go for another Stonehenge here, which is going to be able to connect, gonna be able to get some damage onto them, and we can try to go into our Garvantula, and at least we only have to use one shield in order to knock them out. Because we had some energy stored here, we're going to have now a shield advantage on our Sandslash. Let's hope this is going to be enough to win this game. We're going to swap out immediately into our Sandslash here as the opponent goes into the Annihilate. I didn't want to go for the extra fast move, but it is what it is. We can catch the Night Slash here, which I would have had on my other Pokemon, but yeah, in the back it's going to be a Dugong anyway, and sadly we're not going to have any good coverage against Pokemon. As you can see, Scorching Sands is not going to be really doing enough, and so we're going to forfeit this game. Salazzle in the lead can be a little bit tricky. I decided to stay in for a little bit just to get more damage onto them with my Quagsire, and they decided to go for the charge move here of Poison Fang. Going to be resisted, I don't really care too much about it. They're going to have in the back here the Jellicent, which is quite okay for me, because if I can go for the full farmland against them, I also would be able to just get some discharges off maybe against the opponent's Salazzle, which should be fine for me as well. So I'm quite happy with this scenario here. I was not expecting that the Surf would have knocked me out. Of course, like, we had the debuff onto our defense, but this was kind of surprising to me. Also, still does so much damage here, so I'm forced to go for a charge move, sadly. This is going to be able to knock them out most likely, and we can swap out immediately now, hoping that there's something in the back that we can deal with. If it's the team that I showcased recently, it's going to be in the back Steel-type Pokemon, so let's see. We're going to be able to just barely get the full knockout here, and it's going to be a Steel-type in terms of the Empoleon. So, can we still win this battle? They let the move go through, and this is going to be huge for me, because now we got some damage onto them, and so I can just go ahead and go for the full farm down and win this game. Another Salazzle in the lead. This time around, I actually swapped out a little bit earlier. This was actually the first Salazzle I encountered with. Most I stayed in a little bit, but look at this. We're getting completely hard-walled. Nothing I can do here at all. Stonehenge coming through, going to get some damage onto them, but as you're gonna see, I can try to go back into my Garvantula, but again, we're going to get aligned against the Fire-type Pokemon in the back, and I was expecting like somewhat of a Charmer in the back, because it's a toxic team here that we're gonna see, or another Razor Leaf user. Razor Leaf is definitely not what I want to see with the Pokemon that I have in the back here. I can try to get 2 shields maybe from the opponent, but actually I'm going to swap out now and keep my energy on my Galvantula to catch actually a move here. This can be very good for us. Depending on what they have in the back, we might still be able to win this game. Oh look, it's complete hard counter. There is nothing that you can do there, like there's literally nothing that you can do here. Something else, for the Shadow Gligar matchup, I actually kinda got a different kind of strategy here now, which is going for one lunge first and then swap out into the Sandslash. Usually always is going to be a Quagsire Say-Swap, but what I kinda want to try to do with it is I kind of want to put them close into a range where maybe a Night Slash is going to be able to knock them out eventually. But also, if they swap out like here, they're going to be now in Awkward Tail range. Awkward Tail would not knock them out from full health, but like this, it's going to be enough. So staying in the beginning is definitely the right call to go for, in my opinion. But here, as you can see, I can try to align myself, which I'm going to try to do here as well, as we can go for a shield. The Hydrokin is coming through, but as you can see, you can just farm them down with a Sand Attack. And this is actually kind of cool, like Sand Attack gives the Sandslash a little bit more fast move pressure, which is quite nice for us as well. Here, you're gonna see the Poliwrath coming in. We can go for the not Sandsear Storm, it's Scorching Sand. Why do I always say Sandsear Storm to this move? But yeah, Scorching Sand coming through here. This is going to be able to also get the shield now against the opponent. And as you're gonna see here as well, the opponent is gonna be able to go for a Scald, gonna knock us out. But we still have our Quagsire. I can go straight for the charge move. This should be enough to knock them out as well. It is going to be enough to knock them out, and so we can see the Gligar coming back in. I can go ahead and go for the Awkward Tail soon as well. A Dig is actually better for me. I was scaring that 2 Aerial Aces would be enough to knock me out, but it's what it is. We can go for another Awkward Tail, and this is going to be it for this game. Good game there. Next opponent, Macago on the lead. Horrible lead again, like we're kinda getting walled here most of the time, and we can still get to an Aqua Tail here. This is a huge mistake by the opponent, and so we can even get a ton of damage onto them, and they had enough already and they decide to forfeit this game. Next opponent coming through, horrible lead for us. We're going to be forced to swap out immediately here into our Quagsire, as we're gonna get completely hardwalled again here. So like, yeah, this kinda happened sometimes where you just get completely walled and there's not a lot that you can do about it. So a steel lead, a steel ground lead of course here, and a normal steel lead would be fine, but a steel ground lead plus a Poliwrath swapping in is not really ideal for us. We can still try to go ahead and go for that Aqua Tail, gonna get them a little bit lower. Show went for it straight away, by the way. I don't know if I actually win CMP tie against the Poliwrath. I don't think so, but it's what is anyway. We can swap out into our Galvantula, trying to get some extra energy against the opponent, trying to go for the full farm down. They go for the skull, they don't get the debuff, which is quite nice for us, because otherwise we would have not been able to farm them down, but we have to hope that our Sandslash is enough to knock out whatever they have in the back. And look at this. It is a complete hard wall. There is nothing you can do about it. This is kind of what you want to bait out here, but of course if the opponent has a perfect answer to the Quagsire in the Poliwrath, they don't have to go into their flying type Pokemon to avoid our lead. And so yeah, this is something that is just happening all the time. Basically, every time I don't get completely hardwalled, I feel like this team wins. But every time I get hardwalled, of course, there's no chance of really coming back from this. And I guess there are going to be some teams here that are just going to be impossible to beat for the Sandslash here as well, which is just kind of sad, but it is what it is. Like, I still try my best here. I was trying to catch the opponent off guard here as well, but they were able to swap out into the Steelix in time. Very fast swap by the opponent, well played there, and we can move on to the next opponent. We encounter a great lead here. Empoleon has basically nowhere to go for this team, which is lovely. In comes a Sableye, which is also great because we can get the Lunge off, we can swap out into our Quagsire, and we can outspeed them to the next charge move as well. They can go for one of these, but like to the next one, as we can see here, we're going to have the CMP tie, which is quite nice. And so the opponent is going to be in a very tough spot at this point. They're going to let the move go through, and they decide to go back into the Empoleon. And so I can overfarm by a little bit, try to go for an Awkward here, just try to get some damage onto them, as this is going to still do quite a little bit of damage. And they decide to use a shield, which is quite nice, and they have some lag. They got some fast moves in there again, but I think they lost like 2 fast moves against me. So it is a little bit annoying because they don't know how much I got at the same time, because the game is currently in a very tough state here, and so we can go for another Awkward here. They are going to keep their Pokemon there alive, but again, like, even if they didn't have the lag, I'm fairly certain I would have been able to win this game based on the Pokemon that they have, just because my team is doing quite well against a Empoleon, but also the swap that they had there with a Sableye, and in the back here, the opponent's Annihilate is not going to do enough damage either. I could use a shield here, I decided to use a shield as well, and even if this discharge is not going to be enough to knock them out, we're still going to have our Sandslash in the back, and so yeah, there's not a lot that the opponent can do here. We're gonna see that they are gonna still go for a charge move, they're gonna try to knock me out, and so I can at least reveal my final Pokemon, and I don't think that the lag actually mattered, but it's still kind of unfortunate. Next opponent, final opponent for today, we're going to see another Empoleon, which is great for us. Let's see what they're going to swap into. Actually kind of decent for us as well. It's going to be the Annihilate here. I can go for the Discharge, and so we're going to be in a very decent spot. We're going to see the opponent letting the move go through, and so I try to go for the full farm down here, which I don't know if this was the correct call. I decided to use a shield here on a potential Shadow Ball. It's going to be the Ice Punch though, and so I can farm them down. We are shield down, but we're going to have a great matchup against the Empoleon anyway, so let's see what they're going to have in the back. And it's going to be one of the worst possible Pokemon I could imagine. It's going to be the Gligar, and so yeah, we are not gonna be in a great spot now anymore, because this Pokemon is tough to deal with. We can let the move go through, but sadly, because it's the normal variant as well, they're not in range for an Awkward Tail yet, and so they swap out here, and maybe I make a mistake. Yeah, I think I actually made a mistake here, because what I decided to do here is I decided to go straight for the Night Slash. This is not really the mistake I'm talking about, but what I think I should have done is I should have used a shield here, because I would have been 2 shields down, but I need 2 moves anyway against the opponent's Gligar. I would have been able to soak some energy on them, and also I would have been able to farm down the Empoleon in time. I thought I would be able to farm them down in time already with my Quagsire, but I was not able to do so, and so this was a mistake that most likely cost me the game. I'm fairly certain if I used a shield on my Sandslash and went basically 2 shields down, I had a way better chance of winning this game. But it is what it is. We're still going to try our best here, but the opponent let 1 move go through already, showcasing that an Awkward Tail was not enough, so I have to go for 3 Awkward Tails now, and as you can see here, we're not going to be able to do so, and so we're going to lose the final battle. It was winnable, but it is what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.